Welcome to Two Sisters Podcast with your hosts, Kristy and Melissa, who are real sisters bringing you real talk about life and faith through humor, insight, and community. Now, let's get into this week's episode.
What's up, guys? It's Melissa
and Kristy,
and welcome to Two Sisters Podcast. So, guys, today we're going to talk about, I'm going to begin my perspective of things, because I don't think we really think about like the relationships we're in, or we don't title or acknowledge certain type of relationships that we're in. And so I was just bringing it to my sister's attention, I don't know, just a perspective that I have that sometimes we're in relationships, we don't really look at it as being bullied. And so my take on things is that, my sister was talking about, or Kristy was talking about, being in certain types of relationship where you are basically mentally distressed or emotionally, I don't want to say the A word, but just being disrespected and disregarded and being talked to as if you're not
a human being,
and that you have no rights and that you're degraded and that, just being put down in your relationships, and you feel drained, you feel just tired and just exhausted in your mind, in your physical body, in your emotions. You just like empty because the person that you are in a relationship with, that you love and that you're giving your all to, is not reciprocating that same effort into loving you the way people like to use the word deserve to be treated. And yeah, okay, deserve, but also just the fact that to me is just a natural right that you have to me, just being in any relationship. Like, and you also have to me, require certain things of people because, again, everybody comes from a different background. Everybody, been raised differently. Cultures are different things like that. So, people, I feel like, and this is, I'm at fault at this sometimes too, that I just expect people to treat me how I would treat them or how I do treat them. And so it's a shock when you are being treated differently from the way you treat people. And so sometimes I think that it catches people off guard when they are giving their all, when they are showing love, when they, basically trying to love people to act right. Am I making sense? And so I just told my sister that I feel like, because I've been bullied when I was a child. So it's like people who try to intimidate you or make you do things that you don't want to do and basically instill some type of fear or, just use their, like overpower you to manipulate you to do the things they want to do. I was like, that's being bullied. Essentially, that's what it is. And so I just kind of wanted to just touch bases on that and see what your thoughts are, Kristy. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I was a little surprised with the title being in a relationship with a bully, but yeah, that's what it is. I mean, there's so many different labels that you can place on someone that has characteristics that would be identified as a bully. Like you said, someone that is just overbearing and domineering and manipulative and instills fear within the relationship. And so whether you're a man or a woman, I'm a woman, so I speak from a woman's standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So like I know of people that have been and are in relationships with a bully. And this person intimidates and uses coercion,
right,
and intimidation, and the individual that's being bullied per se they wouldn't necessarily label it that, you know.
Right, exactly.
They would, I don't know what they would label it is. Like, I feel like that's like saying the A word, right?
Yeah,
ABU.
yeah.
And no one wants to say it.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to admit that they're in that type of relationship. Okay, let alone
They don't want to use
let
the A word either.
right, let alone you're in a relationship with a bully. Because for you to say, "Hey, I'm in a relationship with a bully," means you have to identify it and you have to accept it
And acknowledge that you are.
and acknowledge that you're in a relationship with someone that is dominating you,
Mm-hmm. So
right?
what
And
was it? Acknowledge, accept, and what?
I don't know. I got them flowing now.
Okay.
So, but the main point is you have to face the truth, right? If you labeling somebody a bully and you're in a relationship with them, then you have to face the fact that you are being bullied, which is a whole nother, people are in these relationships
Right.
because they're not labeling it what it truly is.
Right.
They're excusing it.
Yep.
Right? Because no one would say, "Oh, I've given this person power to become a bully over me."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you didn't want to acknowledge that you had bullies. And when I say you, I mean the general public, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No one wanted to acknowledge they had bullies in school. So why would you want to acknowledge as a grown adult that you're in a relationship with a bully, right? There are excuses that go on for years.
Just like with the A word. People
Well, being in a relationship with a bully is the A word.
Yeah.
It's just a different term.
Yeah.
But maybe it's more acceptable. And maybe, for those of you out there, like we said, we've listed a couple of characteristics that we think a bully shows or exhibits. So if you're in a relationship with someone that intimidates you, that manipulates you, that uses coercion, that you have fear of,
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it might not be necessarily physical fear, but like, are you scared to
mentally distressed?
Are you scared to tell them the truth?
Yeah.
What are their reactions when you tell them the truth? Or is it anger? Is it rage?
Shame?
Is it flipping the script on you and making you seem like you crazy for telling the truth? That's a bully.
Yeah. How would you handle that? What is your suggestion on, I guess the first thing would be, again, you gave the signs, right? The signs and symptoms of if you are, some of the things that will show that you in a relationship with a bully. But, what are some things that people can do? You know what I'm saying? For me, I feel like you need to get help. The first thing is, like she said, you do have to acknowledge and accept. And the accept part is a lot. That's a loaded word for me because it's like if I accept it, it's like I'm staying to accept it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to accept that I'm being bullied. I want to acknowledge the fact that I'm in a relationship that person is bullying me, but I don't want to stay there. So like what do you think is the most reasonable first step to move out from being in a relationship with someone who's a bully?
Acknowledgement is the first step.
Okay.
Awareness,
Mm-hmm.
not lying to yourself about the true characteristics of the person that you're with. Okay.
And then if they have some type of hesitancy,
then they're not ready. They're not ready and they want to stay in a relationship with that bully.
Wow.
Period.
They just want to stay. All right.
Because you can't
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Because that's just like with anything, right? You have to decide or make the decision to leave, correct? So what if it's someone who don't know how to? And we have all these young ladies. When I say young, I mean literally under 20 years of age that stays or are being manipulated either by, their peers or by someone older than them that is, I don't want to say brainwashing them, but just the fact that their naivety. They're just naive. They don't know themselves. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, so what's the step out? What is the step out? I would say if you are a young lady, the first thing for me would be to go to like a counselor, do they still have guidance counselors in these schools these days?
Yes.
Okay, I will go to a guidance counselor. That just shows you how long it's been since I've been in school. I would go to a guidance counselor. I would tell somebody, because sometimes I feel like they don't tell their friends or people they're close to because they're ashamed.
Well, one of the things about acknowledging, like, you know, in your own little bubble that you have with the relationship with the bully, they can make you think anything, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's some isolation that happens. But if you use your own imagination that the Lord gave you, and you imagine that conversation, the latest conversation where you felt less than and put down, imagine that conversation having that in the room with your parents, or in the room with your best friend, or in a room with your coach.
Right.
If it would make you feel uncomfortable with what that person said to you, then that is your way of kind of throwing cold water on yourself to acknowledge, because that is the first step, you know.
Yeah.
Or if you had a daughter and her man was saying those things to her,
or doing those things,
would you want that your daughter to be in a relationship with that bully?
To keep doing it, yeah.
Right. So why do you have to be?
Right.
Right. So if you're isolated, unisolate yourself. Like, unisolate yourself. Go to your parents, go to your friends, right? Break out. You have cell phones, right?
Email.
Call people, email people, text people. There are all types of emergency, and we're not really going into the physical A word. No. We're just talking about like the mental and emotional part.
Right.
So if you're isolated, unisolate yourself. Just like you walked away from the people in your life, walk back to them.
Yeah. Walk back to them, because,
you know, they're not slow. They have an idea that, you know, you're acting strange, and they've been waiting for you. I'm sure some of them have already reached out to you to help you. So take that helping hand.
Great information. So guys, this is like, again, this season is all about coaching sessions, basically, just different things that we've discussed or hear or get information about from either clients or different things like that. So this is one of the things that we talk to our clients about, and just how we help them navigate through. Like I said, it's all about navigating through emotions, being emotionally intelligent, being able, when people are ready, like basically when they come to us as their coach, they're ready for a change. They're ready to, well, it's yes and no, right? It's yes and no. Most times they know what to do.
Most times they think they're ready.
Right.
You know, at least they've taken that precious, bold step to contact someone for help.
Right.
You know, so in that, they will always be right.
Yeah, exactly. So I do feel like when they do contact us, then they are asking for the help. They know they need help. They're trying to get it. So that's a main first step, is to actually decide, and then decide they want help, and then do what's necessary to get the help.
Right. And if you are, we didn't touch on it because it's not the subject of it, but if you are in a physical abusive relationship, if you're in a physical where somebody's putting hands on you, then you need to get to a safe place as soon as possible.
Yeah. Do what's necessary to save yourself. The ultimate goal is to stay alive.
Yes.
And live life. With that being said, guys.
Yeah, that was heavy. So, we're rooting for you. And, you know, let's have these difficult discussions. You know, we do need to talk about it.
We do.
So thank you for listening. And we will see you and talk to you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Two Sisters Podcast, where we hope to encourage you on your journey of transformation and healing while having fun along the way. Follow us on IG and Twitter. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. It's available on all major podcast providers. Just search for Two Sisters Podcast. Till next time.